Hello guys, my name is Mariam Iqda and today's topic is functions and their graphs. First, let's talk about the functions. What are the functions? Functions are basically the binary relation between two sets. We can say that the every element of the first set is exactly the one element in the second set. Or we can say that functions assign a single output for each of their input, right? So I hope you guys would already know about functions somehow, but let's move on and talk about the inverse of the functions. What is, let's say that when does the inverse of the function exist? This is the most asked questions in the A levels. Whenever you get a question about functions, the examiner would ask you about why does the inverse of the function exist. So your answer must be a let's write the question first. State why does the inverse exist. So the answer would be because it is a one to one function. This is exactly what you guys are going to write in that question, but let me tell you guys about what does it exactly mean. So let's take an example of a straight line graph. If you guys notice that there is exactly one value for this one value of y for this value of x, so we can say that the inverse of the function exists if there is only one corresponding value in y for the x, or for the x there is only a y. If we say this value of x, there is only one value of y, so the inverse exists in this case, right? So let's move on and take another example. If we say this, like we have a graph of this, do we have a single value of y for this corresponding value of x? No, there are two values of y, so inverse does not exist. Got it? So let's move on and take an example of a question. The question is the function f and g are defined by f of x. This is a function. F of x is 3x plus 2 and their domain is x belongs to R. Basically domain, let me tell you guys about domain. This is basically important thing. Domain is the value of x, whereas range is the value of y. This is a key point. Okay, and this is the function of x and this is the function of y, 6 over 2x plus 3. This is the information we are given, and now the first part is find the value of x for which f of g of x is 3. If you get a question like this means that you have to put g of x into f of x. Got it? If we get g of x into f of x, so we have to put f of x into g of x. We are talking about g of x, right? So we have to put g of x into f of x, which means that whenever there is a x in the f function, we have to put g of x, g function, into x. If we had x here, we had done the same thing we did here, right? So let's move on. And also told that g of x is equal to 3, so let's take it equal to 3 and next solve this. 3 times 6 is 18 over 2x plus 3 plus 2 equals to 3. Let's move 2 on the other side of the equal and then solve it further. 1 and sorry, okay, 18, let's move it. 18 equals to 2x plus 3, 18 minus 3 equals to 2x, 15 equals to 2x, 15 by 2 equals to x, which means this is the value of the x when g of f is equals to 3. Got it? Now let's move on to the next. Yes. Sketch in a single diagram the graphs of y equals to f of x and f inverse x equals to y, making clear the relationship between the two graphs. This is the second part. Sorry, this is different. So for making a graph of f of x, we are going to take random values from 0 to 3. You guys can take 0 to 5, it's up to you. You guys can see that this is the graph of straight line, right? So let's make a graph by taking our own values. X would be, I am taking 0 to 3, 0, 1, 2 and 3, and now I am going to evaluate the values of y. If we put 0 here, then we are gonna get 2. If we put 1 here, yes, I am gonna get 5, and then 3 to the 6 plus 2 is 8, and then 3 3 is 9 plus 2 is 11. So let's find the inverse of the function f. If you guys don't know how to find a function, that's not a big deal. I'm gonna tell you guys. F inverse x equals to y, which means y. What is y? Y is function f of x. So y would be equal to 3x plus 2. Let's switch the values of x into y and values, not values, switch the x into y and y into x. So I'm gonna get x equal to 3y plus 2, right? And now I'm going to solve for y. X minus 2 by 3 equals to y. So if you guys know that f inverse is equals to y, then x minus 2 over 3 would be equal to f inverse. Basically what you guys need to do is take f inverse x equals to y, and then y is also equal to f of x, right? Then 3x plus 2 is equals to y. Then you guys need to switch the x into y, y into x. Okay, we will write x in the place of y and the y in the place of x, and then solve for the y. You will get the inverse of the y. That's it. And now let's move on and make a graph of the function. I'm going to do it like this because we have to take the values from this. Also we know that this is a straight line. Now let's make the axis. our extreme value of the x, oh, I had to make, it's okay, our extreme value for the x is 3, so 2 and 1 and 10 0, and for y it is 10. So I'm going to make 2 units, 2 4 8 and then 10 and then 11, right? And for this x is 0 for, then 1 for 5, it's like, then for 2 it is 8, and for 3 it is 11. If we make a line, it would be a straight line. I don't have a graph properly, but for you it will, the points will exactly on a line. Sorry for that, I'm bad at trying. And this is the graph of f of x, and the examiner has asked about making a graph of f inverse also. So what we need to do is make a line of f of x, this is y equals to x, and then equals to x. For this we will have this. So this is the reflection of f of inverse f of x, then this is the graph of f inverse x. If we have a graph of f of x, we are going to make a line of x equals to y, which will always pass through the origin, and this will be its line. And then we are going to reflect f of x graph. This would be, so the reflected graph will be our f inverse x, graph of f inverse, right? So now move on to the third part, which is, let's see what examiner is demanding. Part 3, express express each of f inverse x and g inverse x in terms of x, and solve the equation f inverse x equals to g inverse x. So let's find, I have also told you guys about the inverse, how to find the inverse, so I'm going to do it quickly. G of x equals to 6 over 2x plus 3. I'm going to switch the values. You already know that this is equals to 2x plus 3, x equals to 6 over 2. This is the y, so g inverse x is equal to 6 minus 3x by 2x. And now we already know about f inverse, which is x minus 2 by 3, right? Yes. I hope you guys can solve after this. And the values of the x would be our answer of this question, right? We just have to solve the equations, and further you guys can, I hope you guys can do it yourself. Bye bye. That is what you guys, these are the type of the questions you guys will get in the paper.